He called 2021 a difficult year, amid a raging COVID-19 pandemic, rising inequalities, particularly for developing countries where diminishing resources are further imperiled by rising inflation and mounting debt.
To add fuel to the fire, we are still off track in addressing the climate crisis, another amplifier of global injustice and inequality. I am deeply worried if things do not improve and improve fast, we face even harder times ahead. COVID-19 is not going away. It is becoming clear that vaccines alone will not eradicate the pandemic. Vaccines are averting hospitalization and deaths for the majority who get them and slowing the spread. But transmissions show no sign of letting up. And this is driven by vaccine inequity, hesitancy, and complacency.
Guterres pointed to a World Health Organization goal of having 40% of people in all countries vaccinated by the end of this year, 70% by the middle of next year. But put bluntly, goals that are now a pipe dream, with 98 countries unable to meet that target. Some 40 countries have not yet been able to vaccinate 10% of their population, while less than 4% make up fully vaccinated individuals in lower income countries. He warned that at this rate, Africa would not be able to meet the 70% threshold until August 2024.
Vaccine inequity is giving variants a free pass to run wild, ravaging the health of people and economies in every corner of the globe. We cannot defeat the pandemic in an uncoordinated way. And all countries, especially those that have potential and responsibilities, must take concrete action in the coming days to make greater progress to achieve WHO's global 40% target and be far more ambitious in their efforts to reach 70% of people in all countries by the middle of 2022. Dear friends, at the same time, countries and economies are getting squeezed from all sides, especially in the developing world. Lopsided COVID-19 recovery efforts are accelerating inequalities and increasing stresses on economies and people.
Guterres echoed IMF projections that cumulative economic growth per capita over the next 5 years in sub-Saharan Africa will be 75% less than the rest of the world, while rising interest rates in places like the United States and Europe will further constrain countries that need help the most, with dire implications.
Today's global financial system is supercharging inequalities and instability. It is a system that allows credit rating agencies to undermine the credibility of developing countries with good growth prospects and vital development needs. And this obviously makes private finance become more risk-averse. International financial institutions alone do not have sufficient capacities to compensate it. And the clear majority of special drawing rights are distributed to the biggest and richest economies in a way that is far from being compensated by voluntary redistributions. Meanwhile, inequalities keep widening, social upheaval and polarization will be growing, and risks will be increasing. This is a powder keg for social unrest and instability, and it poses a clear and present danger to democratic institutions. It is time to clearly assume the need for reform of the international financial system.
A year defined by moral and governance failures, and a pandemic fueled by a lack of consensus, coordination, and a rejection of science, and global fault lines exacerbated by all of the above. Shervin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.